All right, so we are at the bottom of page 3 on Unit 0, Lesson 4. We're going to divide real numbers. Multiplication and division are inverse operations just as addition and subtractions are. Dividing a number is the same as multiplying by its reciprocal. Use the expression keep, change, flip for fractions. So when both numbers are positive, the quotient is positive. You have a positive number divided by a positive number, you get a positive number. If both numbers are negative, a negative number divided by a negative number, you get a positive number. When dividing a positive number by a negative number, you get the quotient is negative. Negative divided by positive is a negative. So yes, you do have to memorize that, but if you use your calculator correctly, it will tell you. But then again, remember, it's very easy to put the wrong thing in. I've done it several times myself. And putting it in the calculator wrong is not helpful. So try to double check by looking at what you just did and make sure that it makes sense. Okay? So a lot of these problems can be found in the book. But let's do it. Okay, so positive divided by a negative would be a negative 1.8. A negative divided by a negative should be a positive 4.8. A positive divided by a negative should be a negative. That's a typo on the key. And a negative divided by a positive. Remember, that's the same as putting this here, whichever way you want to go with that. And you know, if it's a confusing one, I mean, this looks weird. Negative 2 divided by 40 is a strange thing. So how do we know this weird little decimal is correct? You can always put that back in your calculator, 0.05 times 40, and you should get your negative 2. So feel free to check things back the other way. If it's a test, you want to make sure what your answer is. So 125 divided by a negative 5. Put that in your calculator. 125 divided by negative 5. A positive divided by a negative should be a negative 25. All right, and this is going to be negative. Whether this negative's up here or down here, that's one negative. Divided by a positive is going to be a negative. So that number divided by that number comes out to 15. All right, so let's try some division here with some fractions. So with the fractions, you need to do the keep, change, flip. So that means keep the first one. Keep the first fraction. Change the division to a multiplication and flip or use the reciprocal of the second one, and then you're multiplying. Sorry, let me get my key out here and double check myself. All right, so we're dividing. Notice we're dividing. So keep, change, flip, and you can go across, that's 84, and across it's 56, or you can reduce, take those 7s out, and then 4 into 8 is 2, 4 into that is 3, so the final answer should be 3 over 2. Reduce, however, you can reduce the 84 over 56 however you want, but eventually you're reducing by 28, believe it or not. I mean, most people can't recognize that that's 28, but you can divide it by 2 and then divide it by another 2 and, you know, work your way there, or reduce it before you make it bigger. Keep, change, flip. Or 3 over 2. Oh, that's another 3 over 2. That was just coincidental. All right, 18 over 1 keep that, times 3 over 2 is 54 over 2, or 27. All right. Not too bad. All right. Improper fractions or proper fractions as answers. Be sure to simplify. So fraction divided by a whole number. You're still, remember this is this. So you're still flipping here. Okay. And let's see, keep, change, flip. Remember, flipping it keeps still, it's still negative when you do that. Whoa, okay. So negative times a negative is a positive, and 25, and there's nothing to reduce. All right, this was a positive divided by negative, so its final answer should be negative. Notice it's a multiplication, so no flippy. Whoops. So this would be 18 over 56, and that's going to reduce, excuse me, reduce by 2, make that a 3. Reduced by 2 makes that a 4. So that is 9 over 28. And I dropped my negative. Let's see. That's negative. That's a negative. So make sure you're putting a negative. I think that's dropped too on the key. Alrighty. And then this one, let's see. Order of operations, we're going to do these first. So keep, change, flip. And then you're going to be multiplying by a negative 7. So you can multiply all the way across. You can reduce this. It's going to be negative. One negative is there. So it comes out to some whopper number. So let's get rid of the 7s. Let's get rid of the 2. So this is going to be negative 5 over 18. Okay. Obviously, this reduces to that. You divide it by 14. So you get there by dividing it by 2 and dividing it by 7. Okay. Don't forget to check reducing things by 7, 11, and 13 as well. That's why I like the reducing, crossing out thing. It's a little messy, I know. Sorry for my handwriting. But it does keep you from making a couple mistakes with big numbers. All right. Let's do some more practice with volumes of solids. So find the volume of an ice cream cone. There's the formula for the volume of an ice cream cone. That is sort of an ice cream cone. And it says 1/3 times pi times the radius of the opening. R equals 1.5. Radius is in inches, and its height is 5. Drawing's not required. All right. This is how I like to do these. I like to put the 3 down there. This is 1 times 3.14 times the radius squared times height, which was 5. It's all multiplication, so keep them all together. And remember, you're always squaring first. Order of operations, say square the 1.5 times 1.5, you get 2.25. And this comes out, just keep multiplying the top. get 11.775, and then back up here, this is why people forget to round. When I get more than one decimal or it doesn't come out to a whole number, I go back and find some rounding instructions. You need to do that in this class and the next class you take. From now on, you get a bunch of decimals places, you make sure there is no instructions way back at the top of the page sometimes as to how the form of your final answer should be. So 10th place, 1.8 cubic inches, okay, or that's the same as inch with a little 3 on it. All right, I want to put that in my calculator and just double check. Hang on for a second. Yep. Okay, find the volume of a pyramid. So that was a cone. This is a pyramid. Pyramid. Let's see if I can draw a pyramid. All right, so that's the height of the pyramid. Length is 4, width is 3, and it's 8 inches tall. Either way you do it, I like to put it this way. 1 times the length is, where's the length go? 4. And the width is 3, and the height is 8. Put that all in your calculator, and you get 32. I think I messed that one up on the key. All right, 4 times 3 times 8 is 96. Let me fix my key. So that's 96 over 3, which is 32. So that's a classic example of do not reduce and multiply across. So 32 cubic inches. So that's a key error. All right, and then basketball 3D shape is called a sphere. The volume of the sphere is this here. The radius of the basketball, the radius is 9.55 inches. What is its volume? All right, so I like to put these fractions this way. It's just easier for me. I find it easier. Nothing wrong with that. I think it cuts down on the errors. It didn't last time, but let's try. Okay, so order operations, make sure you're doing 4 times 3.14 times whatever 9.55 cubed is. A very big long number. Do not chop it. Keep all the decimals. Keep it in your calculator if you can. That's what happens in statistics a lot. You need to keep things in your calculator. Use all the decimals you have. In math, one of the general rules is no rounding in the middle of your equations. So keep all the decimals, no rounding until the end. And you'd be surprised how much it throws off your final answer. So I'm keeping that rounded number in my calculator, multiplying it by 4, multiplying it by 3.14, getting a big number. You don't have to write this number down on the test. You just keep it in your calculator. But I like to write everything down because I make mistakes a lot. So I want to make sure that I can check these things. All right, round your answer to the 10th place. 3646.5, and that would be cubic inches as well. Okay.